Jim Richards in the turbocharged BMW. That's the view he's got, that's the view you've got. We've turned the camera, he didn't turn the car. Don't go running out of the living room. Brian Thompson is just in front of him in the Mercedes-Benz, the Shepparton entry. Jim Richards, probably the smallest engine car in the race, turbocharged. And people think, well, listen, turbo should do better, but he's also up against turbos with much larger capacity, those Porsches, for instance.
This is the one coming down the main straight.
Brian Thompson has that Mercedes cracking today. He's really got it going. There's a puff of brake smoke from the white car just in front there. He goes inside the Mercedes, as does Jim Richards. Thompson went a bit wide there.
That's his other BMW.
That's Briggs in front, yes. John Briggs, the South Australian driver in the other BMW. Jim must have had trouble early on to be so far back in the field. His practice time was quicker, but he certainly was delayed early in the race to be back with Thompson and Briggs. Now he has Briggs to get by. His old car. Nelson Piquet, there's Jim Richards still battling his way up through the field. Alan then retired, had a year out of it, came back and ran in the Porsche 935 last year for Alan Hamilton, won every race in Australia, ran a couple of events earlier this year for the Arrows team, and almost certainly will go back into Formula One next year, but needs a good result today in the Australian Grand Prix. He'll certainly get a good result though in this race, I'd say, because he's clearing out. Jim Richards in the meantime struggling very hard to make up ground. That's the view from inside his car, left-hand drive car. We just turn the camera a little bit. You can see what revs he's doing and watch the instruments, the turbo boost. He's got to watch that while he's watching the road, changing gear, doing the other things to keep a driver busy. You can see how his hands are working. He's a busy fella. The racing driver does earn his money. And
we continue with this great scrap with Rusty French in the Porsche and Jim Richards in the JPS Turbo BMW. Coming down Calder's front straight. Again, you'll notice that the Porsche has the long legs down the straight, but Richards goes very, very wide indeed. Tries to get the right line coming out of the corner, not so much going in. If he can tuck back on the inside, he can't that time. Rusty's got him covered.
He certainly slowed there, Mike. French brakes more than he, and Jim Richards loses so much of his momentum that he can't get back on the turbo. He'd love French to go a little faster through the corner so he could sweep out and try and pass him on the way up. He can't do that. You've got a big turbo versus a small turbo here. Richards needs to flow and keep the car rolling, whereas the Porsche can sort of slow down more than accelerate with almost explosive force. But Richards is close now. Let's see whether he can just hang on to the tail. No, look at the way the Porsche pulls away. And that must
2 laps to go.
Must cause Richards some despair, but again he takes the wide line. Because if he can just get his fast sweep through here, he can get him on the small straight. Now, look how fast he goes here. Trying the outside line now. He won't get by, I don't think, but he's side by side with French. Now he might. If French just gives him room, they touch. French accelerates away again, and Richards has to pull in behind him again. He may make a move, depends where French gives him room. Richards on the outside. He can't get by there, but he get a good line through this corner, and he is very fast through the S's. Let's see what Richards can do. So he's straight through. Shot through like a stone from a slingshot. Brilliant driving by Jim Richards there. And now Rusty French has to do it and may well do it. They have only 1 lap to go after this.
Rusty was under a little bit of pressure there.
Now let's watch him down the straight, see whether the Porsche can in fact outgun the BMW down the straight. We haven't seen the BMW in front before, but Richards is holding it. He got the fast line through the corner that he wanted. French is catching him, goes on the inside. Whether he can get through the corner, though, it remains to be seen. He's in front now. Will he hold the corner? Richards goes behind, puts his nose right under the bar, goes on the gravel again on the inside, takes him, accelerates away. French got an attack of the fright test, saying, where the devil did you come from? Gathers the car together.
Don't think Rusty's ready for all this yet, and there's part of the spoilers come off the Porsche.
Oh, and he's gone into the... Look at things that have come off. There's a great cloud of smoke there. Is it Rusty French in there, or is it Jim Richards? It's Rusty French. And Richards on his own then will be seeing this view down the straight. Here he comes. The two tangled in the dust, and it's Jim Richards who emerges the winner of this frantic sports sedan challenge, or GT challenge, and it's Richards first. I don't know whether... No, Rob Jolly comes over in the Commodore. We didn't see much of him. He comes across moments of the race. Here's Jim Richards. Look, there he goes. Now, that's something we just missed there from the angle we're showing. He had a spin right behind as he braked, lost the car, went off the back, tore the tail off when he touched it on the fence. That's where it came loose.
No, it was actually off when he went in there, Evan. And I think that's why you'll find he lost it, because he had no spoiler on the back and he's locked his back brakes.
So they must have touched before then. just out of camera. Yes, it would make it a very difficult car to control because they require
You're right there.
the tail down thrust to give them some sort of traction.
Well, if you've been waiting for the Australian Touring Car Championship Round 1, it's coming up shortly when we return to Melbourne International Racing.
Power of the Porsche to get past him again. Richards in front for the first time. Now, this is a crucial moment of the race at the end of the straight. And I think this is where they touched and where Jim Richards, in effect, unzippered the tail end of the Porsche. The Porsche goes through. Now, watch how Richards seems to touch. I think he probably dislodged the back about there. And the back probably came off either in that move. We didn't watch to see if it flies off.
Richards goes through, takes the lead.
Still there.
And then Rusty French moves to the outside of the
It
side.
goes down
Blows
there,
off
yeah.
there, and that throws the car.
When he puts the brakes on, look out.
Yes, when he pushed the brakes on, he had nothing to control it, and away he went.